Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. This weekend is going to be huge. Sunday night. I know that UFC doesn't run a lot of pay-per-views on Sunday night, but directly after the Colts versus Patriots AFC Championship game on Fox, in fact, they're even going to be running commercials for you to flip over as soon as this football game is over to watch the main event on Fox Sports 1. I know this because I saw Conor McGregor filming the commercials on the UFC Embedded show. A lot of people, when I started watching UFC, started asking me who my favorite UFC fighter was, and I told them honestly, every time I watched a fight, I picked a different guy. But I can't remember which fight it was, but Conor McGregor is easily my favorite UFC fighter right now. I know the last fight he fought against Dustin Poirier back at UFC 178 back in September. The fight before that was a Fox Sports 1 as well. That was a direct from, I believe that fight was in Ireland, and that crowd was rowdy all night long. Conor McGregor was in the main event of that night, and here he is fighting again in another main event against a guy named Dennis Siver. I will not, I will admit to you that honestly, when I started to get ready for this video and I was making some notes down about this and I was watching the UFC Embedded, I learned that his name was not Dennis Silver. And if I wouldn't have watched that video, I wouldn't have been able to talk about this one at all. But this is going to be on Fight Night 59. This is going to be Conor McGregor's big fight. If he wins this match, he will more than likely get the title fight after this. So he will probably move up from being the number 5 in the division all the way to the number 1 contender. Of course, Conor McGregor got the big win against Dustin Poirier back at 178. That was a TKO in the first round. The fight went about 2 minutes. In fact, his last 2 fights have been TKOs in the first round, and already he's gone out of his way to say, hey, I'm going to knock out Siver in the first round, and this is something that Siver has spoken up for himself, saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen. He already has beef with Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor has said that Siver is more than likely probably on steroids. This is something that Siver was busted for a couple of years ago. Honestly, when you look into this fight and you look at their lineup of bar to bar, easily you can tell that Siver is giving up a lot of reach. Definitely giving up some age. He's giving up some height. This seems like it's in the corner of Conor McGregor. Conor is a very explosive fighter, like we talked about earlier. This is something that he really could go out of his way and really win this fight. And if he can get another TKO in the first round, it's going to be very, very impressive. Of course, if he wins this fight, he will probably get the match against Aldo. Probably one of the big Vegas UFC pay-per-view main events. It's time to put up or shut up for Conor McGregor. Lots of things going on with Fight Night 59. You get to see the Cowboy Donald Cerrone fight again 2 weeks after his last fight. Honestly, I was very surprised. I was trying to figure out why he's taking this fight against Benson Henderson. I didn't know if he was filling in for somebody else or what the backstory is. Maybe somebody can comment down below. I know that when he beat Miles Drury, it was a decision. So the fight went 3 rounds. So it's not like he just walked in, knocked out some guy, and didn't really go through a fight. He did have a fight only 2 weeks ago, and here he is just signing up and saying, hey, I'll be in this fight, and I'll be whatever you need me to be. Talk about maybe John Jones might be making his first appearance in UFC since his cocaine. I don't know if you call it an allegation or, what to really call it. But, John Jones was busted for cocaine. He did 1 day in rehab. He's going to be at the Colts and Patriots football game, the AFC Championship game. It's being held in Boston. So I can see as long as this football game doesn't go down to the last minute, him just jumping in a car and making sure that he's at the UFC show to see the main event. I don't know if UFC would want to shoot him, showing him down there around the ring. Of course, he is coming off his big win at the last UFC show, UFC 182. And I don't know why there hasn't been talks about him having to give a rematch, due to the drug allegations. But we'll have to see what goes down from there as Jon Jones is champion. Of course, he wasn't suspended. Of course, he wasn't stripped. There was a loophole in the rule about being busted, but you know that UFC has to not be happy about this being leaked out. But we'll see more to this story to come. But Conor McGregor fighting on Sunday, directly after the Patriots versus Colts AFC Championship game on Fox Sports 1. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Tomorrow night is going to be a huge night for professional sports fans out there. Tomorrow is you got both of your NFC and AFC championship football games. Honestly, in my mind, the way I've always remembered it is they've always split those up to where one game was on Saturday and one game was on Sunday. I don't know when they changed that up, but this is the first year that honestly I've realized it. But tomorrow's big game is going to be the Colts against the Patriots, the AFC Championship game. Lots of eyes on there. Brady versus Luck. Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1. They both of these guys knocked it out of the park, and they got the best hand-delivered schedule that they could do, because UFC had already booked UFC Fight Night 59 for Boston that night with the headliner of Conor McGregor, the huge Ireland MMA star, and to be honestly and true, my favorite UFC fighter there is. There's been a lot of guys that when I watch their fights, I'm like, this is the best fighter going. I really like this guy, and maybe a week later down the road, I honestly have forgotten their name, and it's not till the next time I see them or I'm getting ready for a fight, I'll watch one of my old videos that I watched about them and realize the things that I liked about him. But Conor McGregor really sticks out to me. He's a guy that honestly says anything and everything that's on his mind. He's not afraid to call out anything that's going down. In my mind, he's like a mixture of 1980s Ric Flair. If you can remember him walking in to UFC 178 when he fought against Dustin Poirier, he was wearing the Ric Flair glasses. He had the white suit on. He was looking to the nines, dude, and he reminds me a lot of Sheamus, the WWE fighter. Not one of my favorite guys, but just one of those badass dudes inside of the ring. And, oh, big old chops. He gets in there. You know that he's not afraid of getting hit. And basically, the times he gets into the ring with other big guys, whether it's Big Show or Mark Henry, those guys are basically just going to hit the hell out of each other and give you, every dollar's worth that you're going for. Conor McGregor is a guy that honestly I like, because honestly, in my mind, he already has his next 2 years in UFC already booked out. Basically, he knows that if he wins this fight against Dennis Siver at Fight Night 59, he's going to be moving on, headlining one of the big UFC pay-per-views, more than likely one of the Las Vegas MGM Grand shows, fighting against Jose Aldo. Of course, that's going to be for the featherweight championship. Once he wins the featherweight, I can honestly see him moving on and moving up to the lightweight division, going after Anthony Pettis. This is going to be a great fight, because this is Ireland versus Russia. Two big dudes that just go out there and just want to beat the hell out of each other. Dennis Siver is no pushover. Dennis Siver has a past with steroids, and he's not what he once was. But he is a guy that has beat a lot of names in UFC, and it's not going to be, and it's not going to be easy. Even though that you walk in as Conor McGregor, you've won, your last 2 fights by TKOs in the first round. Basically, he's called out Dennis Siver, telling him that he's going to beat him in under a minute again. That's the same way that Dustin Poirier went down. That's the same way that I believe. Briato. It was something like that. And that was the fight that was from Ireland at UFC Fight Night 46 back in the day. That was the awakening that I saw of Conor McGregor. But tomorrow is going to be a very good fight. He's a very, very explosive fighter. He's going to be coming all out, and he's basically just going to back up what his mouth has said, that he is the best fighter in UFC, and he's going to take it by storm, and he wants that championship. He wants a shot at Jose Aldo. This is something that after UFC, he thought that he was going to be able to get that shot. If you go back to the Aldo fight, when Aldo fight against Mendez, that was Aldo versus Mendez 2. Basically, I think Conor was basically trying to tell Dana White and UFC to book him for one of the shows in one of the main event slots. Basically, he already had told his management, to buy tickets to fly him and his crew to the show, because that's where they were going to be fighting at, and they needed to be booked up and have the best rooms and flights that they could do. Hopefully, somebody got word to the manager, and I believe those tickets weren't purchased. But it's a funny backstory about Conor McGregor just trying to push himself into those championship fights. Some people say he's not ready, but I honestly think he's one of the biggest stars in UFC. And you gotta put your money behind where your mouth is and see what goes down. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. The fight night is finally here. This is the fight that we've been waiting for a long time. We got Conor McGregor going up against Siver, and this is going to be a big one. This is the one for all of the marbles. This is what basically Conor McGregor has been running his mouth for the time he's been in UFC. Just pushing and pushing to make sure he can be known as being one of the greatest fighters in UFC history. He's going to go in to Boston, Massachusetts. He's going to get this win, and that's going to push him into one of the biggest fights of his career, getting a title shot for the featherweight championship of UFC. This fight is being held in Boston, Massachusetts. Of course, this is the same place where the Colts and Pats are going to be getting it on for the AFC championship game. You can see that Boston is well represented on this Sports Sunday. UFC doesn't normally have these ones, but if the Pats are able to win this game, which is my prediction, that Boston Strong is going to be representing big time, especially with the Conor McGregor win and all of the Ireland population of Boston that's out there. All those people out there be drinking Guinness in the streets and tipping over cars and lighting them on fire. This is Conor's first fight since fighting against Dustin Poirier. He won that one with a first round TKO. He came out before the fight and almost guaranteed the fact that he was going to win that match in the first 2 minutes. Conor McGregor, to me, is this year's basically Ric Flair. You saw him on the pregame basically hyping up the Colts because of the guy in the on the Colts locker room, basically doing the whole Ric Flair sort of thing. I don't know if he's going to be in town for this game, but I would love to see a meetup of Conor McGregor and Ric Flair. You can totally tell that Conor McGregor is totally copping that 1980s Ric Flair style, just with the style and the attitude. He came walking in to that last UFC 178, I think is what it was. 176 it might have been, now that I think about it. The fight against Poirier, and he just was wearing the Ric Flair glasses, the white suit. He looked like he stepped right into the 1980s NWA, and he was heading down to the ring to take on Dusty Rhodes. When he fought against Poirier, he did guarantee that he was going to win that fight in 2 minutes, and he was able to back that up. A lot of people are thinking that Siver is going to get into the octagon, and basically is going to be meeting the same fate. He does have a weird sort of fighting style where he punches at weird angles and is always able to throw a kick or something like that. Siver hasn't been very active for the last 2 years since getting busted for steroids, where basically he had to almost take a whole year off. He did fight in last October. Siver does have something to fight for. You can tell that he's upset that all of the UFC sort of promotion has been about McGregor and about how McGregor is so much better. And almost making it seem like McGregor is the guy that's going to win this fight. Siver does have something to fight for, but in my mind, this is a fight that McGregor is going to win, and he's going to be pushed to be one of the main guys in UFC.